Did you just say you're going to go ahead and start recording?
He meant go live. You're supposed to know what I mean, Greg. Come on.
Come on. It's like being married. I already screwed that up once. Don't make me screw it up with you, too.
All right. Hello and welcome to episode 551 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, May 30th, 2017. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from Canada, Mr. Greg Seward.
Yo, what's up?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you?
Good. Enjoying a little holiday weekend here in the States.
Oh, yeah, Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, yeah. And then I'm taking off the rest of the week, going on vacation with the family.
Where are you going?
That'll be good. We're going to Las Vegas.
You guys in Las Vegas, you've got a big thing for Las Vegas.
as we sometimes do. Yeah, we got married in Vegas, and then we took my daughter to the Strip's #1 party pool when she was 3 years old, and had a fun time. She was in a little life preserver, floating around with a bunch of 20-somethings brewing it up and listening to.
If you see me shaking my head and it feels like I may be judging you, I want you to know that you're right.
Yeah. It was a pretty ridiculous situation, really. But I mean, she didn't know that the explicit lyrics in the songs that were being played over the loudspeakers, so it's fine. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we were just showing the youths who were in that pool what could happen if everything that
if they
happens
don't use
in
a
Vegas.
prophylactic.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Is that what you're showing them?
Exactly it.
Oh, gosh. Rubber, dude.
Totally. And hey, we're keeping it East Coast on this podcast tonight, because with us for this very special Memorial Day episode is Mr. Kevin Larrabee of BackInMyPlay.com and the FitCast Network. Hello.
Hey guys, it's so great to be back with you again. And yeah, the East Coast is the best. So
the best
for having me on.
Yeah. No problem.
I have no kids though, if that matters, because
that doesn't matter.
You've never been to Vegas?
Okay. I have not been to Vegas. No, I have not.
Really?
Nope.
Wow. You should go to that Pinball Hall of Fame, because it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I kind of want to hit that the next time I'm down there.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
Go play Hercules.
I went there for my bachelor party, because that's the kind of person that I am. Yep.
It sounds just like The Hangover.
The deleted scene with the nerdy fourth guy that they cut out of the movie. Anyway, let's talk about video games. What do you think about that?
I love video games. I love talking about them too.
Me too. Video games are the best, aren't they?
They always are good. Like,
really,
you can always play really good games, and then you can also talk about them, which is also equally fun.
Video games are the best, aren't they?
That's right. I bet you we're the only podcast to say that this week.
Yeah.
Betcha. And for good reason. All right. Far Cry 5 got announced. Well, I mean, it was announced before, but they revealed a trailer. A couple trailers, actually. Like a couple different character things, and then like a 2.5-minute main trailer. So, takes place in Montana this time with some characters.
Is there a body slam
From the
move?
headlines, perhaps. What's that?
Is there a body slam move?
Well, they didn't show any in-game footage.
Okay.
It was all
Should have a body slam move.
cutscene that was taken from in-engine specs or whatever.
Okay.
Did you watch the trailer?
No, I did not.
Okay. This is going to be a rousing discussion.
Greg, do you like video games? I just want to make sure. Do you like video games?
I like video games just fine.
Okay.
I almost won the championship in Formula One 2016.
That sounds like the bad part about video games. But I think, Far Cry 5 actually does. It looks quite good, and it has been a long time since we got a Far Cry. And for someone that pretty much skipped 3 and 4 because those did not do much for me, coming to America, I think this will be the one that maybe sucks me in. And it sounds like a really cool, like almost like Justified type story. Like you're going to be dealing with some interesting characters, and if I can role play as Raylan Givens, I will have a blast.
Well, and also apparently
no
you
idea
can
who that is.
choose your protagonist's gender. I read, so that's cool.
So what time does it take place in?
It looks like present day.
Oh, is it really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
I
indeed.
still, with Far Cry, the one I always keep meaning to go back and play is the one that was like where you're playing as basically a caveman, I think.
Yeah,
Like
Primal.
Primal. I got to go back and play Primal. That looks
Me too.
very interesting to me.
That was the one I had to shut off at the intro because my daughter was watching as slaughtered a mammoth. It's like, well, maybe.
I mean, why shouldn't she watch that? That's just hunter gatherer. I mean, that's just natural. You see a mammoth, you slaughter it.
We've watched Planet Earth, and they cut away during the animal on animal violence. So,
It'll be interesting to see how they build upon what they already did in 3 and 4, because a lot of people had criticisms of 4 where they said, it's very much like 3, but you're in a different area. There's a couple more systems built on top of it. And, I think the thing for me is that I just do not want to necessarily feel like I'm just looking for towers to climb up on. What I'm hoping is that they're also taking not necessarily influence, but Horizon Zero Dawn has been a gigantic game and has really taken that genre big leaps forward. So hopefully it does not just continue to do what Ed had made Far Cry. It's got to do something a little bit different. It's got to have something a little bit more interesting than just like looking at a bunch of dots on my map, like Assassin's Creed and stuff.
That's a good call. Yeah. I mean, that's, I enjoy games like that, and it's fun to play them. But you're right; every single open world game seems to have gone that way now. And
icons on the map. Well, I mean, what we could do is go the Breath of the Wild way, and just
towers?
Don't have icons on the map for every little like micro quest that you could possibly participate in, and just have you explore the world as it is.
Yeah, but it kind of devolved into that eventually, because as soon as you find a quest that you can do, you make that your active quest, and now you've got a little dot on the map.
Well, that's fine. I think that's fine.
And I think Montana allows for this game to be much more, have an environment where you can stumble upon things a lot more. Again, I tried 3 and I tried 4, and for one reason or another, the characters and the environment really did not grab me. But I think, again, it sounds somewhat selfish, but having it take place in the United States, and this has caused a little bit of controversy, but if it does have to do with like, extremists in one form or another, that could be an interesting story for the political environment that we're into if they can handle it the right way in the game.
You're just invading the country of New Freeburg.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the response to the game from certain factions,
But why are you worried about that?
I don't know.
There's nothing to worry about. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it's a video game. Who cares? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll play it. I love Far Cry Blood Dragon, and that dragged me into the rest of the series, and I picked up 3, 4, and Primal, and I'll definitely be picking up 5. So.
It is interesting that they also are automatically saying I think it's February 2018 for the release of the game. So they're getting it out of the way of their E3 stuff, which means it sounds like Ubisoft is going to have a rather big E3, because it's been a couple years since we've had an Assassin's Creed. Rayman could be coming back into it. And even there have been some rumblings, even though Ansel has said that Beyond Good and Evil probably won't be at E3. That might also be like a good little diversion, because it could just show up there as a little bit of a surprise for Ubisoft, because they usually have really good E3 conferences, even if they are just a little bit awkward.
Just a little.
After like the 3 Just Dance games that they're bound to show,
right?
Yeah,
but I mean, look at, like we've talked about how popular the Switch has been and how much hardware Nintendo has sold on that thing. I don't know if they can throw it together this quickly in the last couple months, but we could have some very interesting titles announced for the Switch too, or just some ports that could, again, spice up that conference, because people are still super hungry for more games to come to the Switch.
You know, I would take an Assassin's Creed Rogue port.
Yeah, me
That
too.
was that late gen 360 PS3 game that didn't get ported to the new systems. I mean, just bring that out on Switch and I'll play it.
Totally.
It'd be fantastic. Who knows?
Agreed.
Anyway, speaking of announcements that are not happening at E3 and Ubisoft, how about this Mario Rabbids game and that presentation leak?
Just can't even believe that's
Yeah.
a thing. But
Ubisoft,
great.
man.
Sure.
Ubisoft cannot keep it together. Like the Assassin's Creed Egypt screenshots that leaked, the Far Cry 5 Montana stuff has been known for a few months, and then this Mario Rabbids thing. It's like they can't keep a secret.
Well, they have. I mean, I think it's just the case of being a company that has thousands of employees and thousands of contractors that have all these pieces of material, promotional or just material that they're working on the game, switching so many hands, taking so many trains and buses and planes, where people are going to eventually stumble upon this stuff or just leave their FTP, access open, and they're going to get a hold of this stuff. But
Oops.
But again, like it's just even for the Mario Rabbids stuff leaking, all it is a picture and like kind of how they wanted to roll this stuff out. It's really going to be when they show us what the game is, because even judging from that shot, if anything, it makes it a little bit more intrigued. I'm more intrigued now than I was before when I heard the rumors, just because I'm like, this looks kind of like it could be crazy and maybe even awesome.
Well, here's the thing. People expect that all video game announcements are made for them, right? And that's just not the case. Like all video games don't have to be made for you, right?
That's a great point.
We have Lego games. We have, when the GameCube came out, people hated on Luigi's Mansion because it wasn't Mario. It's like not every game has to be like another game or has to be the thing that you are expecting only, right? The one screenshot that they showed really gave absolutely no clue as to what the gameplay could be like. The piece of key art gives a little more information that all the characters have little like Mega Man blasters on their arms.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting look for sure. I'm wondering how old this presentation is because it seemed like it might be quite old. Especially since they're saying, a surprise announcement at E3. Well, the cat was out of the bag, or the rabbit was out of the bag last fall on this, with the rumors that were coming out of Emily Rogers and Laura Kate Dale. So it really wasn't a surprise even 6 months ago. So how old is this presentation?
Yeah, and I think you made a really good point, CJ, that I think we always need to make sure that we check ourselves on these announcements, because a lot of people are mad that Mario and the Rabbids are getting together. Why are you letting the Rabbids sully my favorite Mario games? But especially if it is a game that is being mostly done in-house at Ubisoft, then don't worry, Nintendo's still going to be working on tons of other stuff for you. You'd never need to buy every single game that has Mario in it. You don't have to do it. Otherwise, you would have Mario is missing and all those other, Mario's teacher's typing. You don't need that either. You can just wait until your mainline Mario stuff, and Mario Odyssey is going to be at E3, and it's going to be coming out this fall. Don't worry, it's coming. Don't worry about it.
Right. It'll be fine. It's not like the Switch is not getting other game announcements like Monster Hunter Double Cross.
Well done.
Which is coming to the Switch in August in Japan.
Are you going to buy this if it comes to the States?
I don't know. I don't know.
Get it, play it for 6 hours and drop it
so many times, and just it has not clicked with me yet. So I don't know. It is cool though that you can do cross internet play with the 3DS.
Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty cool. And local play with Switches.
I mean, that's that's going to be huge. That's going to be such a massive hit.
Oh yeah.
Anything Monster Hunter on a portable is already a big hit, but on the Switch, it's just going to be that much better.
I mean, it will be interesting to see how it does on the Switch, because in all, the series has been declining from release to release since 3 Ultimate. So we need to also watch out for that. I think there might actually be some Monster Hunter fatigue for that audience. They might need to do something a little bit different, but Japan's going to buy
the
it.
The fact that it's the first time on the Switch is going to mean something, though. You know what I mean? Like, it'll get a boost because of that. It might not get a boost to the point that it's more successful than previous games, but I think you'll see the decline slow, at least for the first Switch version.
Yeah,
it's just my feeling on it.
So yeah, the summer is looking really good for Switch with ARMS, Splatoon, then Monster Hunter, and then Dragon Quest X, right? The version of that comes out
Japan,
right after in Japan.
Yeah. Japan's going to have a pretty strong summer, but I still think for the US, maybe there are going to be some potential surprise at E3 to make sure that they continue to make us want to buy those consoles and buy more games.
And hey, if that Mario Rabbids game is going to hit the date specified in that presentation, that'll be out in like August.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good. All right, let's move along to the Xbox. Microsoft announced, or they launched their Xbox Game Pass service, which is a $10 a month service. You get about 100 games for that you can download freely to your Xbox One. It includes such titles as Halo 5. They got Gears of War in there. They got Sunset Overdrive for you people you monsters who did not buy it when it's like $10. I mean, come on, people. Now you have really no excuse. And they have a free trial that you can get in on as well if you're an Xbox Live Gold member right now.
Yeah, which I signed up for.
The selection of games is pretty nice, gotta say.
Yep.
Yeah. Good on them. It's I don't feel like, I don't know, it didn't seem super clear to me, not going and reading like a bunch of announcements or anything, that this was a different thing than Gold.
Right.
At first, but I like it.
Also, they had this weird commercial on YouTube.
Yeah, that was bizarre. It did
Danny
not tell you a thing.
It didn't tell you a thing about what Game Pass was. And you're right. I mean, they have Xbox Live, they have Xbox Live Gold, they have games with Gold, and now they have Game Pass. Like they have a little bit of a communication issue there where they really, when they have a new thing, they can't just assume that everybody knows what that is, right?
Yeah, I got to really question the thought process on that promotional strategy with Danny McBride. I don't know what audience, like, does Danny McBride have a specific audience that they're trying to target, like the hungover Danny McBride? Like, you got, I think we were actually talking about this the other night where he's like, grabbed him out of his hotel room for 15 minutes and did one take and then wrapped it up. But I mean, it's just a shame because, again, it really does not show off what this package is, because this is just day one. But if we're talking about $10 a month, we're talking $120 per year, 2 full price games. And if they can continue to fill this out with, not just great backwards compatible games, but if they can also get some more Microsoft first party titles in, like Quantum Break and stuff like that, like this could be a really fantastic library, especially for those that are into the retro stuff. Like, they have tons of those old Sega Genesis games that they brought to Xbox 360 and other revivals like the Pac-Man Ultimate or Pac-Man Championship Edition, DX and all that stuff. And I just thought, again, for $10 a month, if they continue to at least give me 1 or 2 new games every single month that I want to play, it's going to be worth it. But unfortunately, like, as someone that was from basically day one Xbox 360 owner, I own like half the games that are available on that list already, which is not going to be the norm. But unfortunately for me, that makes it a little bit less of a selling point. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to, hang out for a month or 2. And if it doesn't, change that much, then maybe it's easy to cancel Microsoft services.
Yeah. My opinion on this is kind of the same as PlayStation Now. I mean, yeah, it's great that the service exists. I think there is a type of gamer who's really going to appreciate it. For me, I have a huge backlog already of games that I don't play, that I bought. So these types of services really don't do anything for me, especially when I am an Xbox Live Gold subscriber and a PlayStation Plus subscriber, and I'm getting like 6 to 10 free games a month already on those. A lot of the games with Gold games are also available in Game Pass. Like, I really don't need like another source of free games or pay for a service like this. Personally, I don't.
But I mean, that being said, you're right. What you said is right. I mean, this isn't a service for gamers like us.
No, I think you're right. You're right.
And for $10 a month, that is not too shabby. And I mean, I went on just to see what the selection is, and that's a nice selection on there right now. If that's the level that they're offering for $10 a month, then that is, like you said, it's just like PlayStation Now. That is definitely worth the money. Yeah. If you don't have a huge backlog of games.
But this
if you don't have a backlog.
Again, you look at the value proposition, though, of this versus PlayStation Now. This is a million times better because you don't have to worry about an internet connection. You're literally downloading the games, and that is something that, all right, this is what I love about Microsoft right now. They're kind of down, they're kind of behind, but they're hungry as hell. So they are going 1 or 2 steps further than Sony is on a lot of these potential subscription services that they're going to offer. Just like, again, the value proposition that Microsoft is providing on the Xbox One, even though PS4 probably still has the games for most people, especially if you're interested in Japanese developed games. Microsoft isn't just letting this stuff slide by. They're still fighting really hard, and that's why I still think their E3 conference could be potentially the most surprising of the big three, because they're hungry right now. They got a lot to catch up on, and they got a new console coming out in a couple months.
Well, and you get a discount on like downloadable content for these games too,
right?
I think, and if you want to buy them outright. But again, I think there is a marketing problem there because, Greg, you didn't know what Game Pass was. Like, I think a lot of people don't know what it is and don't know what the benefits are. So I think they have a slight problem there. Hopefully E3 won't be as vague on what the benefits of Scorpio are and what their game plan is for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's something I mean, again, I don't have TV, so I'm not watching commercials all the time and stuff, but I mean, Greg has TV on in the background, so maybe he would be the expert to ask. But like the messaging from Microsoft hasn't seemed to be super clear lately. Like, they have been kind of quiet recently, which is something that I hope they kind of step up their game on, because whether it's like, I'm not always going to watch Major Nelson's stuff. Like, that's obviously not hitting me and it's not coming across my feeds. But if they can get like a better word out on this stuff and get that messaging down, so it is going to hit the community that is also going to be the people that have these conversations at work, that tell people why, if they ask, should I get an Xbox or should I get a PlayStation 4? Like, they would be able to maybe give them a little bit more ammo to say, like, yeah, maybe you want to look at the Xbox One because they got all this other stuff going on right now too.
It's funny too, because before this, I would have suggested, like, of all the services, I would have suggested not necessarily a PlayStation Now, but PSN in general, because of the free games, right? Mm-hmm. The 2 free games every month. And I know that Live with Gold, Games with Gold, you get free games every month too, but generally they've been garbage. So to see them launch this service and to see the quality of the library that they're offering, it has definitely changed my mind. Yeah, I would, like, if someone was to ask me right now which one would be more worthwhile, it would definitely be this one.
Right. And I also think that's not something that is just on Microsoft's end. I think, since they really did a hard push with having lots of great games on, Games with Gold and with PlayStation Plus, like, they have both really slowed down, and it has just become like, all right, let's find, I love indie games, but let's find 3 indie games that we can put together this month. Or, on Xbox, it is, let's find a couple backwards compatible games and we'll get like 1 or 2 Xbox One games. And it's just like, nothing is like, we're never getting the, Rocket League. Like, Rocket League was a gigantic PlayStation Plus game. Like, if they can get Windjammers on a PlayStation Plus game, like, that would be huge. But, for Microsoft right now, it would be, awesome if they can make some big splashes. Like, again, I think there will be some things that will come at E3 where they'll say, it's for Xbox Live Gold or it's for PlayStation Plus, and it's available right now. Like,
is that a Larrabee lock? Are you Larrabee locking this?
The only stuff that I have locked in that was from a couple months ago is the Shenmue HD stuff. I think that is going to be coming at at E3, and that could be something that is potentially available today. But
Today,
or
Well, not today.
on the day of E3. Yeah, Memorial Day is the weekend to release.
that's when you release
Shenmue 1 or 2. That's when you want to go to Dobuita.
Shenmorial Day.
That day it snowed.
Yeah. All
So
right. Well, Microsoft also renamed their Beam streaming service to Mixer, and
Yeah.
it's like their Twitch.
And it's impressive.
It has viewer interaction features and also co-streaming. So we could all be streaming a game and put it together in one channel, and people can watch it. It combines the chats for all the channels and everything. Like that's a pretty cool little feature.
It's a very impressive service. I would sign up for it. I think it's great. We have YouTube Gaming.
Why aren't we doing a Player One co-stream?
I don't know. Maybe we should. Maybe we should start.
Maybe we
not
should.
Right now. Not right now.
Not right
now.
now.
With my internet connection.
True.
Yeah. But at some point we should do that. That'd be fun.
This gives me ideas for Extra Life this year.
Yeah. Well, it has to be on Beam though.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's free to watch, isn't it, dog?
Sorry, they named it. It's Mixer, not Beam.
Yeah, see, you screwed it up. You literally just read the headline. You screwed it all up.
I literally did. Fun times. All right. Should we get into some games?
Yeah.
Because
why not?
This ARMS Global Test Punch thing happened over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I played all but one of the rounds. So that's five hours of ARMS for me this weekend. ARMS, if you don't know what it is Nintendo's new boxing fighting game for the Nintendo Switch, and it uses motion controls.
Boy,
you don't have to use motion controls.
You don't have to use them. That's right. You can use Joy-Con controls, Pro Controller. You can do anything you like there. Did any of you guys partake in the Test Punch?
I did.
What control style did you use?
Handheld.
Yeah. Handheld?
Yeah,
No
I'm not ready to go back to using motion controls for all my games. Like I think and again, if it is a competitive game like ARMS is, I don't want to have the inaccuracy of motion controls. I'd rather have the fine-tuned controls of using the Joy-Cons docked into my system, and I kicked everyone's ass when I was doing that. So maybe that would put you at a disadvantage if you're using the motion controls. I would at least try both.
I think people should try both. I tried both as well. I actually found the motion controls to be really satisfying in this game and accurate as well. And I think there is a tendency for people to think, oh, motion controls, that means I have to swing my arms around and really get into it and punch the TV. But
wait, what does it look like? How did you play?
That again?
Punch the TV just like this.
That's CJ's angry monkey playing style.
Yeah. But you don't have to do that. You can actually do fairly controlled, fine movements, even not moving your entire arm forward, and it registers punches. And a lot of people were complaining on Twitter that their arms are tired now. It's like, how far are you swinging the Joy-Con? Like, you can really do some fine movements with this. And I think the game feels really good with motion controls. I think it also is great with the Joy-Cons or the Pro Controller just using it in regular mode too.
To be fair, you are a Splatoon motion control player.
I am, yes, but again, with the motion controls in that game, that's also not like swinging your hands like crazy.
Sure,
it's making fine movements.
The chat is congratulating you for creating the latest character on Player One Podcast. Arms guy.
Yeah.
Arms man,
yeah. So yeah.
Well, okay. The controls are definitely one thing. The music is fantastic. It's like really all the music that you get out of Nintendo, they just continue to be top tier incredible. I wasn't necessarily feeling the game. I saw a lot of people on Twitter like really loving it, but I found that I got bored pretty quickly.
Okay.
I would have to agree with you.
Wow. Wow.
But okay, again, I was playing by myself online, and I felt like it just, there's a couple things that you can do. You can jump, you can grab, you can go this way, you can go this way, you can go inside, you can go straight ahead. Like, I'm sure there are going to be sometimes like if you got some people over, I think it would be way more fun in a social setting, but just like hanging out in my apartment, playing online, like it wasn't necessarily giving me like those really tense, like multiplayer, oh man, like I totally like outthought that guy or totally outmaneuvered that guy experience. It just kind of felt like, man, this is $60.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I would recommend, now that you've played it, go back and watch the ARMS Direct that they just had, because they did have like an ARMS 101 thing in there, and they have a lot of little details that are not presented to you in the tutorial of the game that I think are interesting. Like you can, when somebody comes to grab you, you can punch through it and knock them out. Each hand that you put on has a little power, and if you charge that up, it changes how it hits your opponent. So if you make sure it's charged, it'll hit in a different way. Things like the weight of the boxing gloves and how you can cancel people out is pretty cool. In the volleyball mini game, which is available via the Test Punch, if you do a grab motion on the volleyball, it like sets it up for a spike that can totally be deadly. There are a lot of little things with that, and a lot of things that each character can do. Like Mechanica she has limited movement while she's punching, whereas other characters don't. Like there are a lot of like little differences within the characters that I thought made the game really, really fun. I don't really have a favorite character. I was sort of bouncing around using a little bit of everybody. I really had a lot of fun with it, and I came into this skeptical about it because I was hoping that the game had a better single player mode, which it has the Grand Prix thing, which I don't know. Let's see how that goes. But I thought the gameplay here was really, really good. The fact that they're already saying they're going to come back with more content, Splatoon style, is very promising. The way that Nintendo has patched their games after release makes me think they're going to be supporting this for a long time. So I'm excited about ARMS now, and the purchase is justified for me, but clearly not with you guys.
No, okay. I mean, this is the thing, is that it's a test punch or whatever it is. So I think, I'm still want to wait, because $60 is a lot for what seems to be, not like there, I don't know. I don't want to say like there isn't like a deep campaign, but I'm just not someone that loves playing like tons of
Power Stone. You don't like Power Stone?
Again, if it's in a party setting, if I had some people that wanted to, and again, like this isn't Power Stone. Like Power Stone was so much different, because you're picking up all these power ups, and there was so much like, like a almost like a tug and pull between like grabbing all those gems and trying to figure out how to best find your spot in the map, and like having strategy that way, which some of these maps do have. But I mean, it just got me like wanting to think, oh man, like, what would be cool, like another Punch Out right now.
I agree, that would be really cool. I hope they do end up making one of those. And
I'm not saying I'm not going to buy it. I just want to like wait, and like I'm not going to necessarily like pre-order it right now. I just want to wait and see what else they have going for this game, see some reviews on people that put a lot more time into it. Like I only put like an hour into it, so I'm not saying it's a buy or not. It's just like sometimes it is warranted or not. Like sometimes it's weird to just have like everyone heap all this praise on this game, and it is kind of odd when you just don't see what everyone else is talking about.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that for sure. And I imagine that this is not going to be for everyone, just like Splatoon wasn't for everyone. But I'm into it.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I can't totally agree with you there, Kevin. I can kind of see what people are seeing in it. It seems like, it seemed, just even from what I played from the test punch, that there's a lot more depth there than I expected. I expected it to feel super gimmicky. It does feel gimmicky to a point, but there's more depth than I expected. But I won't be buying it just because I don't buy fighting games anymore. I'm not a fighting game guy anymore, and I haven't really been since the late '90s. And
well, like if you
looks
were,
nice, but it's not something I'll be adding to my collection for sure.
yeah, but if you were, like, again, I think that, like, I don't know how to look at this game. I don't know how to look at it. Like, is it a fighting game? Is it a party game? Like, I don't know how to best look at this, because if I also like look at fighting games of today, like, NetherRealms, that probably does it better than anyone else compared to, like, Street Fighter V was not a gigantic success out the door for Capcom, but looking at like what I would want out of a fighting game, it would be either something that is just crazy, like not what's the Guilty Gear or something like that, or I want something like what NetherRealms has done with Mortal Kombat and DC, because there are like crazy, insane stories in those games that will keep me at least for a couple hour campaign to put in the work to learn all the different characters. And then maybe that's something I can bring online, but at least even if I don't go online, I got that, like, that story, that campaign to pull me in.
I feel like you're asking for something that's not really normal for a fighting game.
Yeah.
Those feel like exceptions. Really, a lot of people who are hardcore fighting game fans, all they're looking for is a good system that they can use to fight one-on-one.
And they don't care about the story.
Oh, okay. Do you think this is going to be at EVO next year? Is this a hardcore fighting game?
I think just based on the test punch and reading everything, it's got enough depth that it could be.
Yeah, I think Nintendo is attempting to position it that way. I mean, they put it up for vote amongst the EVO faithful. They kind of set it to the fighting game community. It was in like the player's choice vote that they took. And Nintendo themselves are putting together an ARMS tournament. They've already run a tournament in Japan, and they're doing another one during E3. So I think they are looking at this as a potentially competitive fighting game.
Kickstart.
I'm not saying that it will.
Champions.
I'm not saying that it will be, but it's got that potential.
Somebody, Chris, listener Chris in the chat says it will never be at EVO. Never. Don't say never, because
Nintendo fans will find a way to mess with that poll to get it in there. So, again, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying, like, it's not something that I am super enthusiastic about wanting to pick up. And I'm like, it's the same thing about when we talked about Switch stuff a while ago. Same thing with Splatoon 2. Like, nothing in that is necessarily making me want to run out the door and go to my local GameStop and pre-order it. It's not that it is a bad game. It's just like not something that is for me, which is totally okay. There's, like we said, don't need to like every single game that comes out. There's tons of stuff out there for the 3 fantastic consoles that are right next to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, and for me, it's the same thing. And when I say something like, I'm glad that this test punch happened because I played enough of it to know that I'm not going to buy it. That's, again, not to say it's a bad game. It's not for me. Same reason why I'm not going to run out and buy Splatoon 2. Bought Splatoon, played it a little while, thought it was really good, wasn't interested in continuing to play it.
But at least that has a campaign, so that might be the thing.
Even that wasn't enough for me to keep going with the single player version.
That was such a good campaign in the first game too.
Yeah. No, but this looks like it actually has like what is like a story campaign in Splatoon 2, right? So again, like I am someone that, and you like, again, I can never give this advice enough for the people that would ever tune in and listen to this, but you do not need to pre-order games. You do not need to buy them day one. Just like let it suss out. We got tons of games to play. And make sure that you're making wise purchasing decisions, because at the end of the day, it's still $60 plus tax. It's a lot of money to put down on something that you might not want to play after a couple days. So just watch some streams, read the reviews, and be patient. No fear of missing out here. Just wait a week.
Or you can watch the streams and get excited about buying the games on the first day, like me.
And the amiibos. Yeah, buy the amiibos. Get the special. Are you going to import the Joy-Cons in Japan? The special Splatoon 2 Joy-Cons only coming out in Japan.
No, I'm not.
We'll
I have
see.
to call. Sorry, 'cause you just reminded me of something. Listening to the episode last week, I thought it was hilarious that you and Ethan,
Mhm.
when you were talking about Minecraft last week, basically described Zelda Breath of the Wild when you said, "Oh, you make your house and then you do this and then you get to go anywhere where you want. And what do you do? Where do you go? I don't understand. I don't like that. That's Breath of the Wild. It's exactly the same.
No.
it's not.
No.
The
Breath
way you
of the
described
Wild.
it is exactly the same thing.
No, can I in Minecraft do I find shrines and side
I don't know.
quests?
Do you?
And,
I've never played it.
Other characters to talk to. And,
NPCs and there's like
no,
there's
no.
at least a little bit of a
I don't
story.
know.
in
When I
Breath of
played
the Wild.
Minecraft, there was a whole town there when I walked through that little arch.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's not talk about Minecraft.
Exactly.
Minecraft experts right here.
You just reminded me of it last week when I was like yelling at my car radio when I was because I heard that and then the other thing just to oh my god, what was it? Was it the arms thing where Ethan said, "Oh, I hope that there's a bunch of amiibos and they're all really expensive, like the ones for Breath of the Wild, and I'll buy every one of them." And it's like, but you're what? No.
I'll buy ARMS amiibos. Yeah,
Oh, I hate
absolutely.
you guys so much.
I will.
You guys
I'll buy
don't
Zelda amiibos too.
you don't get to talk about anti-consumer practices
I'm not talking about
I
anti-consumer
know, I'm already-
practices.
here. And then in the flip side say, and I hope they charge me $30 for every amiibo for ARMS. It's not.
Well, they're not.
No.
They're probably
It's
not
not
going
okay.
to do that. So
Can we
I
just
don't
turn
have to
this
worry
into
about
a back of my play episode and talk about old games because we don't fight about those. We just love them.
Sorry, I had to
Video
get that
games
off
are
my
awesome.
chest.
Come on.
I had to get
Amiibos
that
are
off my
awesome.
chest. I was so
All right.
irritated when I heard that last week. Almost drove off the road.
Wow. Anyway, I really liked ARMS. This the test punch only cemented that I'm going to pick it up. So, and I'm
Awesome.
sure we'll run some Player One podcast listener party mode rooms so that up to 20 people can partake in that. I actually thought the lobby system in this game was really, really impressive, and how they mixed things up there and kept you playing, and you could go into the little training mode if you wanted to. But I thought that was great. I've never seen a fighting game lobby system like that before. Anyway,
I'm sure you're right.
Nintendo leaders in online play.
the leaders. Yes.
When I think
Can't
of
wait for that
Nintendo, I
online
think of
service to launch.
Innovative online.
Yeah. When's hopefully we'll hear about that at E3. I would like to hear more about that.
Ice Climber, Urban Champion. Two launch
I'll
titles.
take it. Sure. I'll take it.
Completely
Anyway. So I've been playing Friday the 13th, the game on the PlayStation 4. And they've had some server issues on the PC, the Xbox, and the PS4. But this game is really interesting to me. It takes all the tropes of the movie, of the horror movie genre, especially the Friday the 13th movies, and it's got 3 maps, and you can play an 8-player game. It randomly gives one person the Jason role, and the rest of you are camp counselors, and you have to run around the map, going into cabins, finding equipment, finding health items, finding weapons, and doing little missions to escape. Basically, you have 20 minutes. You can either survive or try to escape. And to escape, you have to do things like repair the phone line and call the police, and then wait 5 minutes for them to show up, and then go to the exit of the camp to meet up with them. Or you can find a boat propeller and some gasoline and go down to the dock and repair the boat and gas it up and get out that way. Or find a car battery, find some gas and the keys, and escape in a car. And the cars can take either 2 or 4 people. And there is quite a bit of teamwork that has to happen for some of these things, because other campers may be in a different part of the camp and may have the items that you want to get you out of there. So you can find a walkie-talkie and talk with other campers that way, or it does proximity chat as well. So if you get close, you can chat with other campers. But
Cool.
the rub there is that Jason can also hear you if he's nearby. So you don't sit in a cabin and say, okay, like, well, I set a trap by the door here. Let's go out the window when Jason comes through, because he'll hear that and then he'll go get you. So it's pretty interesting. And then Jason, who I have not been able to play as in the 10 or so or a dozen or so rounds that I've done, but I've watched a bunch of streams, so I kind of know. He has special powers. He can teleport around the map. You can hear campers with little circles that come out of their heels and whatnot. So, and he can break through doors and really mess you up. But it's a really interesting concept. I'm having a lot of fun with it, despite the connection issues. Played a bunch of games over the weekend and had a ton of fun with it.
Is this like a direct sequel to the LJN game?
It is not.
Okay, so it's
It is
the LJN game.
It is way more entertaining than the LJN game.
It's got more than a 10-second loop of music, right?
Yes, it does. It has licensed music, actually. One of the things you can do is one of Jason's powers is that he can take a look at the cabin and see if there are campers inside of it. He can't see where they are inside, but he can see, oh, this one is red, highlighted in red. That means there are campers inside. And some of the cabins have radios, and if you turn on the radio, it will activate that sense as if there are campers inside when there really aren't.
Did you kickstart this game?
I did not. I was interested in the concept from the Kickstarter. I thought their video was great, but I did not back it on Kickstarter. No.
Interesting. I didn't even know it came out this week. I saw that you were playing it, but I thought it was a PlayStation VR title, but it's just a regular PlayStation 4 title.
Just regular PlayStation 4. Yeah.
All right.
It's a Unreal Engine game. It doesn't look the best. It's kind of janky. I mean, it's no Horizon Zero Dawn, but if you can get around that, I think, and of course, depending on the server issues that they've continued to have, if you can get past that stuff, I think you'll find a really interesting, compelling multiplayer game. Right now, there is no single player experience. They are going to update the game later in the summer with a single player story mode, but right now it's just multiplayer online.
And that's a free update?
Yeah, it'll be a free update.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the digital game is $40. They're doing a physical version for $60 later that'll include the single player, but yeah, you can get it. It's free update for the story mode.
I'm interested to hear what the story mode's like. I'll probably jump in at that point if it sounds good.
And as you play, you gain experience points that then you can unlock perks for each of the counselors and also Jason. So you can get like some of the custom kills from the movies for your Jason.
Can you please pick up a full sleeping bag and just start slamming it against the tree? That's still my favorite. Oh my god, that was in Jason X.
Sadly, there is nothing from Jason X in this.
Oh man,
because that would be amazing.
That's like the only thing I remember about that movie. I just thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah, but I posted a video on Twitter of one of my experiences running away from Jason. But there are a lot of like just really funny moments in the game where you escape from Jason, you go through a house, you lock the door, like he comes through, you jump out a window and run away. And, sometimes, some of those times I've been able to survive just by quickly juking. He can't move as quickly as the campers.
I kind of assumed that would be the case. Yeah.
Yeah. You can escape from him fairly easily. Of course, he's got the power to teleport in front of you and then choke you, but it's a pretty fun little video game. I'm having more fun than I expected to have, honestly, with this game.
This goes to another thing that I think, as a PlayStation 4 Pro owner, Sony really needs to do a better job at, like, when I go to the sales page on their website, like there needs to be some sort of distinction that it is like either better on PlayStation 4 Pro or not, because that is, that is kind of a selling point for me. If I know it is going to be optimized, I'm like, I wanted to pick up Prey, but unfortunately, like nothing for that game is optimized for PS4 Pro, which is kind of a bummer.
Even though I think on the retail box it says that it is.
Okay, then that's awesome. I just wish it was just like, oh, it is not. Okay,
it is not, but it does say on the box that it is. I think, for some reason.
Oh, it's good for marketing, I guess.
Friday the 13th is not optimized for PS4 Pro either, other than boost mode,
Bummer.
which I suppose you could use. But
But wasn't, I mean, I guess I might be forgetting a little bit, but I thought when the PS4 Pro launched, I guess part of that was that from there on, from the launch on 4th, that all games needed to have PS4 Pro support in it, but I guess it is optional.
it's optional, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
All
they
right,
all play on the PS4 Pro.
what's that?
They all play on the PS4 Pro.
Oh, they all play on there, yeah.
Right, but use that extra juice. I mean, look at there's like an extra like layer on my PS4 that is the Pro part. It's like I have a 32X stuck on top of it, but we're not using that extra juice.
Let's be honest, it's not as good as a 32X.
No, it doesn't run Doom.
It wasn't the quantum leap that the 32X was.
That's right. Yeah, well, you know what is a quantum leap? Ultra Street Fighter 2 on the Switch.
Oh my
which
god!
I did pick up.
I'm getting tired.
Part of the problem here.
I'm part of the problem.
And you read the reviews, right? You read everyone who said this is an absolute ripoff. Like, why is Capcom selling this game for $40? Like, it should have been $20.
Here's the thing about the reviews. The reviews concentrated on two aspects of this thing: the Way of the Hotto mode, which who gives a shit about Way of the Hotto, and then the price.
The what? The way of the what?
It's the first person like Hadouken thing.
Oh, yeah, God. You use the Joy-Cons to actually do the Hadouken move, and it's silly and stupid, and nobody wants it. Fine. And then the price. They didn't actually go into the rest of the game, and I wish they had, because there are some things that I think are legitimate concerns about this game that I think people should know about. So, first of all,
they're going to find out about them.
We're gonna go to CJ's professional video game review school right now, which I am sitting down. I'm taking out my notebook. I'm ready for this.
That's right. I mean, don't focus on price, and because price can change, and with video games it often does. And then away the Hotto mode. I mean, nobody who is buying Ultra Street Fighter 2 is going to give a shit about that mode. Anyway, take those away.
But Capcom are the ones that are promoting that mode as one of the selling points for why they are justifying the price point of this game. Because, again, otherwise, it's Super Street Fighter 2. It should be $20.
Is there a line in the marketing that says, we priced it this way because of Way of the Hotto mode? I think you're assuming that they did.
No, it's how they showed the game to outlets. It's how they showed it in the promotional material. Like, this was something that they actually showed at events. Is like, oh man, like, it's not just Super Street Fighter 2. We got this awesome new mode that everyone's going to love. And it is going to be like, again, like, it felt like they were trying to justify that price point.
I never saw anybody at an event playing the Way of the Hotto mode. They were all playing the regular mode. But anyway, regardless, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the game itself. Because there have been retro revivals that you can pause the game and switch between classic and new style visuals, right? That's kind of a thing that people do.
In a lot of games, you don't have to pause to do that.
Yeah, a lot of games you don't. I mean, Wonder Boy, you press a button, right?
Yeah.
Switches. This game, you cannot do that on the fly.
Lame.
Which is extremely lame. The other thing, so I guess the old Street Fighter 2 HD remix, you could determine whether you wanted the HD graphics in widescreen or if you wanted it in 4:3, right? They're only in widescreen. You can't do 4:3, which kind of sucks. Then, this is really inexplicable to me. You can't remap the buttons on the control pad.
What?
So for me, I played Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo and always remapped those buttons. I never went with the strong attack on the shoulders, right?
Yeah, because since the beginning of time, 4 face buttons and 2 shoulder buttons has been hands down the worst way to play a Street Fighter game.
The worst way. But what I used to do is I used to have light punch and heavy punch on the face buttons, and then do
exactly what I do.
Medium on the triggers, right? I mean, that's what anybody does. You can't do that setup here, which is really lame. And then there's like a character creation mode or something that is not very good. Like,
Thank God they added that instead of
Yeah.
remapping.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some of those things are things I expect out of a retro revival in 2017 that they didn't do. So more than the way of the Hotto mode, more than the price, those are the things that I really wished reviewers had talked about in the with this game. That said, it's Street Fighter 2. It's a game that I love and played a ton of on the Super Nintendo. So from that perspective, it's still fun. $40, I think. Yeah, it's overpriced, but if they had, it has online play, which I haven't even tried, but if they had included a way to remap the buttons and a way to switch the graphics on the fly, then I probably would have been okay with the rest of it, to be quite honest.
I mean, I will politely disagree with the like price not being an argument, because again, it's like, it is the barrier to entry. It is $40 for a game that, again, if they just stripped out that extra stuff, which I'm sure, like you said, CJ, no one is really going to want to use. All they wanted was a good Street Fighter game on here. And what they could have done is also just, unfortunately, Virtual Console is not ready yet, but you could have put out the multitude of Street Fighter 2 ports, some of which were really good. Or maybe if we live in this magical world where there's also an arcade Virtual Console on the Switch, where they could have released an arcade perfect version of it. But again, it's like, I don't know. I don't, people should not buy this game. You should not buy this game, because you are then giving a vote of confidence on we're willing to pay for this.
No, don't say that. I mean, I can't get around that. I mean, yeah, they charged $40. You can say whether that is or is not the right call. Bomberman R is in the same situation where it seems overpriced. Video games get discounted all the time. This will get discounted.
Yeah, wait till it's
yeah, but
$40 for Super Street Fighter 2 in 2017.
I think it's crazy to say that you don't take price into account when you're reviewing a game. That
I don't
seems
think you can nowadays, because the price changes almost immediately.
Yeah, but people are, they go to a review for day one purchases. Like, the reviews have an embargo. So people are like, oh, wait, should I go and buy it? It's out today. Should I go buy it or not? It's going to be $40 on day one. And that's like, the statistics show, maybe it's changed a little bit, but 90% of those page views, or like 80% of those page views for a video game review is in the first week, because people are like, oh, I heard about this game. Like, should I go buy it?
You have to look at it from MSRP.
Chat, they're telling me that you can remap the buttons. When I
went to edit this whole segment anyway.
So when I went into the control scheme, it showed me pro or touchscreen controls, and that was it. I couldn't find the button remapping, apparently. So part of my opinion is therefore invalidated. But yeah,
get a Sega Saturn. Get a copy of Street Fighter Collection.
Seriously, get an Xbox 360 and buy the $2.50 version.
The chat right? is noting that Street Fighter 2 HD is $2.50 on Xbox Live.
I do not know if it's backwards compatible. I just did a quick check, and it doesn't look like it is.
Okay.
And I bet you that won't be happening anytime soon, now that Capcom's reselling it again.
Possibly.
Likely.
I also jumped back into Overwatch and had a lot of fun with it because of the anniversary event. And of course, I got no cool skins for my trouble because the loot drop, the loot box drops are terrible, pretty much. But that's okay. Anyway,
but you don't go to it for those. You have an awesome time playing the multiplayer.
Oh, yeah, I enjoy playing the multiplayer, and loot boxes. If I get something cool, fine. If I don't, that's fine too. All right, Kevin, what do you got?
Yeah, so obviously I've been doing a lot of prep for Summer of Xbox stuff, which you guys have already joined me for a recording talking about the original Xbox, because it is now, we are talking about 16 years old coming up this fall. So I thought it'd be a good time to go back and look at that console. And in doing so, I've been playing a lot of old Xbox games. I got a little bit of a stack of boxes here.
Whoa.
So just, some of your best games on the Xbox. I'm not going to necessarily talk about them all, but you kind of go back and you look at a console like this, and you realize that, man, there are just some incredible games on this console. And again, that it also had usually the best version of the third-party titles that went across the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube, like the Digital Foundry of its day. Like when IGN used to do like the side-by-side for all those was pretty crazy. And you also got outliers like having a home version of Doom 3 that was surprisingly good, also had co-op in it, was kind of nuts, and even like Half-Life 2. So I've been going through that, but actually what happened was I'm playing through Halo 1 for the show, and I got that itch. I got that itch for that multiplayer, so I popped in my copy of Halo 5, and I've been playing quite a bit of the Social Slayer on Halo 5. So it's like, I think we all hit some point, which I guess for me it was like a year or two ago, where I don't need to do competitive matchmaking or ranked matchmaking stuff. I just want to go play with a couple people that want to have some fun. And that 4-on-4 Halo still works really well. And I still have an absolute blast playing it. And I can feel like my skills coming back, because I used to be the ringer for my like group of friends that would always, be able to lead the group and, kick some butt when we were tunneling through Xbox Connect or GameSpy and stuff like that. So I still think Halo 5 is a really good game, and they seem to really have improved it over the last, I guess, almost 2 years since it came out. And if you want, I think, it's still Halo. So if you want to get a little bit of Halo action, Halo 5 will get it done. And like you guys mentioned before, it's part of that Xbox, monthly package that they're doing with Game Pass. And also the game itself is like $15 on Amazon all the time if you just want to buy Halo 5. And I'm a Halo 5 apologist. I enjoyed that game. I really did enjoy Halo 5, and I cannot wait to see. I think they mentioned that there is going to be no Halo 6 stuff at E3, but I would love to see a little bit of Master Chief and see what they've done in terms of like learning their lessons from what they can improve on Halo 5. So that's great. I think everyone should go play some Halo 5 and hit me up on Xbox Live if you want to. And then the other big thing, aside from that, was Forza Horizon Hot Wheels, which I've been playing a lot of. And I've seen I've seen CJ on, because like when what Forza does incredibly well with Playground games is that they have just insane statistics on everything that you're doing. So you'll also see like, you discovered so many, of like 40 of the 80 roads in this new pack, and I'm like, oh my god, CJ's seen like almost all of them. Like, he's so much farther ahead of me. So it always has that like competitive juices of like wanting to discover more of what's going on. Also, like, that is an absolute blast. Like, there are gigantic jumps. You're going through fire hoops. You're going through loops. You're going through like these awesome turbo sections where you're going up to like 220 miles an hour. It's just awesome what they were able to do to take Forza Horizon 3, which was already like potentially my game of the year last year. And I didn't even play the Blizzard DLC. Like, this is something that just like really stood out for $20. Like, obviously I'm going to pick it up, and it is just an absolute blast. It just takes the joy of what Forza Horizon 3 does to another level. So again, I think if you have Forza Horizon 3, you kind of owe it to yourself to get this $20 DLC and give it a shot, because it's just, CJ, it's insane.
It really is. It's great. And I do wonder if Forza Horizon has not eclipsed the regular Forza series.
Totally.
I think they target two different markets.
I think they do as well, but this fall we're getting a regular Forza.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's like, I'm waiting for 2018 Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, but this is going to be it's Forza 7, which again, it's like, hats off to them, because when was the last time we saw a Gran Turismo game? Like, God, hopefully they're going to have that ready this year. But
they have to have it this year.
Yeah.
But again, like Forza Horizon 3, it fills that gap of what I missed from, I also played some Burnout 3 Takedown this week. And
so good.
Game's amazing.
Where is the successor to that game? Like, we still don't have that.
They ruined it with Paradise City.
They ruined it.
No, you guys are nuts. But I'm saying, like, where is that arcadey 60 frames per second, awesome like driving game on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The closest thing we really got to it is Forza Horizon 3. Or, I mean, you could almost make the case like we kind of have to go with Mario Kart 8.
No, you can't make that case at all.
But, no, but at least it's arcadey action and it's 60 frames per second. Like I love, again, I think Forza Horizon 3 kind of like works well with 30.
Horizon 360 frames?
No, it's 30 on consoles. It's
I was gonna
60
say.
on PC. But again, like if you know, it'd be awesome if I can, like, you know, what would sell me a Scorpio is if I can buy one of those, pop in Forza Horizon 3, get 60 frames per second locked.
Yes.
That would sell me a Scorpio. Like if, again, like you guys have had those discussions about like Scorpio and PlayStation 4 Pro. Like for me, it is worth that investment. Like if that's a $400 box, even if it's like a $500 box, if you can get me, again, this is like what has kind of happened going back to these old Xbox games. A lot of them, like Outrun 2006, run at 60 frames per second. And what that does for a game is just incredible. It just makes it look and feel so much better when you're running at that smooth a frame rate. If they can hit that with this new hardware, that will be a selling point for me. Not necessarily the 4K aspect, but the 60 frames per second aspect target for games going forward. That would do it. That would totally do it. So you guys all agree. Since everyone agrees,
I don't agree.
I honestly don't care about 60 versus 30 on racing games.
What about like a locked 30 versus 25 to 30?
Locked 30 is great.
Because we've seen that a lot.
A locked
on
frame rate is
consoles.
more important than a 60 or 30, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, but
agree with
also, well, I mean, look at the success that Nintendo has had on the Switch with games running at 60, like playing Thumper. I've also been playing Thumper.
Feel like Nintendo has not seen success on the Switch because their games are locked at 60. Just saying.
No. I didn't say that's where they found success, but I said they've been successful getting games to 60, and that does a lot in terms of how games look when they don't have 1080p visuals. If you can get me a good frame rate, that does a lot for how that game is going to play. And
Sure.
you know, again, like, yeah, and some people aren't going to want to pick up gaming PCs, but they want games to look great. And if you have money for amiibos, you got money for a new console.
I'm trying to figure out how we got on this conversation.
Sorry. Forza Horizon 3 should be 60 frames per second, which is what I was saying. And the last thing is the next thing that I'm doing as soon as the summer of Xbox is over is we're doing some sort of PC engine love because I just got
Is this the fall of the TurboGrafx?
Well, actually, I think what we might be doing is, I don't know if I can say this just yet, but it might be the September of Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
So, because I've been dying to do Metal Gear Solid 1, the best ones 2 and 4. And
you know what they should do? Xbox Scorpio. Here it is. Remaster of Metal Gear Solid on Scorpio.
Why not? You know, Microsoft.
They should do it.
Microsoft fund the develop. Oh, again, I think some people, a lot of the discussion has been right now that no one knows what Microsoft is doing. Like they seem to be somewhat aimless because they don't have a lot of dedicated games or exclusive games that are announced right now. But they got the pockets. Like if anyone has got the pockets, it's Microsoft.
But here's the thing about that though, that they have the pockets. You're right, but they also need content quickly because if they're launching the Scorpio in the fall, you can't fully bake an original IP, that you just started 9 months ago.
Totally.
Right? Like this is not going to happen. Like it's similar to Crackdown. How many E3s ago was that? And we're going to see it again at this E3. Like you can't expect that to happen. But you could do Metal Gear Solid for Scorpio remastered and looking amazing. You could do that,
or you could just buy it on the GameCube. I'm just kidding. No, remember the GameCube?
Oh yeah.
David Dennis Dyack. But I will say, someone in the chat is saying, did Kevin just say MGS4 is one of the franchise's best? Yeah, I think 2 and 4 and 5 are the best games. I'm not a fan of 3 as much, but I love 2 is super dumb and 4 is awesome. And 5 is incredible. Yeah.
Okay.
So those I've been playing lots of games. Lots of
You
more
were
games to
you,
come.
when you
Sounds
held up
good.
that super or that core graphics, and if you were going to say that you were doing a Turbo Graphics thing on
A
back of my
series?
play, that might be what triggers me to finally buy a Duo R.
Well, this is, but this might be the entry level for you because this is actually an RGB modded core graphics, which like will run you about 180 to 200 bucks from.
That's not bad.
No, it's really not. Again, especially when you think about for me, the PC Engine is the HuCard games. Like those are the games that really are what I want to play. The one disc based game that I would obviously want to play is Rondo of Blood, but the core graphics has a lot of incredible games, whether it's like Superstar Soldier or Blazing Lasers.
Blazing Lasers. Oh man,
Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu is an incredible game on there. And it just has like a lot of weird, like perfect arcade ports from Konami and from other companies that are just like, man, like I can't believe they're doing this on this small little box. It's nuts.
This is actually too. Was it 2017? Is what the 30th anniversary of the PC Engine? I believe it came out in '87. Yeah, 30th
nice.
anniversary. So I was actually considering doing that as the core marathon for Extra Life this year, but
right.
I would need to get the hardware first, and I need to get one of those EverDrives as well. But I'm still sort of throwing that around.
Okay, yeah, throw it around. Let's see if it sticks.
Greg,
hi. I played the ARMS Test Punch. The main thing that I played, and this was actually last week that I finished this, but I finished Dragon's Trap.
All right,
on the Switch. I was playing it on the Switch. Man, that game is good. God damn, I had a good time with that game. I think I only played it for about 5.5 hours. But it was just so good. Man, I couldn't get over it. So glad that they did something like that. I really, really love to see more more treatment like that for classic games, especially the ones that you're not necessarily sure, or I should say not sort of the usual suspects. Like you kind of expect to see like collections of Mega Man and things like that. Something along the lines of the Disney Afternoon Collection was a nice surprise. And I mean, who the heck expected that they would not only just release a remake of something like Dragon's Trap, which is, I mean, it's an old Master System game, for a series that, there's a lot of love for in certain circles, but not something that really gets the mainstream talking at all. But then the fact that it would be so, like, they clearly put so much time and effort and love into that remake. And it really worked. I mean, it really made it supremely playable. Adding in the easy mode didn't hurt because that game is not simple. And I just absolutely enjoyed it from start to finish. It was so good. I highly recommend that game to anybody who has not experienced it yet. And hopefully that will actually get them looking at some of the other Wonder Boy games, because there are some great ones on the Genesis as well. The Monster World games were fantastic. So I would love to see somebody do another Master System game done, to be honest. I would love to see them take this idea and apply it to something like the original Phantasy Star. Because that's another game I think a lot of people keep hearing it like, oh, it's so worth playing and it's so great. No one's going to go back and play that. Very few people are going to go back and play that, especially on original hardware.
Mm-hmm.
But if you re-release something along the lines of a Phantasy Star with what they did with Dragon's Trap, which is to say, give everybody the original pixel graphics if they want them, but completely redraw it otherwise. Rework the music, which the music in Dragon's Trap is absolutely gorgeous, but you also have the option to listen to it. Actually, one of the things we never talked about that I really loved is that you could listen to the classic music both in like Master System version and also the FM synthesizer or whatever the thing it was called. You could listen to that version of the music too, which was kind of interesting to hear, and give it an easy mode, because that is definitely the barrier to entry to something like an original Phantasy Star. The game is just difficult, and people our age especially don't necessarily have the time to do that grinding. So God, you could really do some amazing stuff. And for me, yeah, the first game that popped in mind was Phantasy Star. God, I would love to see them do something like a Phantasy Star.
That'd be
this
awesome.
format. I would be all over that.
Well, I think it also goes back to the discussion of like the need for, or maybe even not like the responsibility, but how great it would be for these companies to continue to re-release these games and not necessarily depend on something like a Nintendo Virtual Console to get this stuff out there.
Because you don't have to anymore.
Right. Well, I mean, again, you kind of go back to what Microsoft did with Phantom Dust. Like basically they, re-released the game. They didn't do anything crazy to it. They just made it widescreen. They, allowed it to be at, 1080p or whatever and put it out just so you can continue to have access to these games without needing to go back and use like an emulator on your computer. Not that that is a bad thing, but, at least it would be great if these companies would give us like, God, like, how many people would buy like not even an up-res version, but just get me like a working version of MGS 1 through 4 on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And I would immediately buy that. It'd just be great to be able to play those games on current hardware instead of having to like dig this stuff out of my closet or have to mess around with, iffy emulation on a PC.
And I like I say, just to run back to this as far as Dragon's Trap goes, I know that some people would get kind of up in arms about the idea of putting in the easy mode. They also put it in a hard mode. But I think it's a great way to make the games accessible to those of us who are not looking for that challenge, but still show respect for the original game in that if you want to play a carbon copy of the original game on current hardware, you can do that too. But it's been made extremely accessible for everybody else. So it's like easily one of my favorite games this year. I could not put it down. So yeah, that's like the main thing that I was playing this week. I also streamed a little bit of Gargoyle's Quest for the original Game Boy on my Super Game Boy 2 the other night. God, that's such a good game. There's another game that, oh my God, a remake of that? Oh my God, a remake of that would be amazing. But yeah, Gargoyle's Quest. Should play that sometime. I think that was on.
I think this is where companies can bring their titles to the Switch and have them feel new and fresh. They could do things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like that doesn't necessarily have to be the Switch. It could be anything.
Could be anything. Yeah.
But yes, absolutely. I love the way that was handled. I'm interested to see. I hope these companies do something more like this. I hope this becomes more of a trend because I would love to play some of that older stuff, but sort of lovingly recrafted.
Yep.
That's really it for me.
All right. Let's do some tweets. What do you think about that?
It's weird not to have Phil here singing tweet.
True. Yeah. And I will say also, we opened up a Discord chat channel server thing.
It's hopping.
And if you want to join that, the link is in our Twitter profile. So you can just get on there and chat it up. In fact, I think we should do a question from the Discord first. What do you think about that?
Why not?
All right. Hacker alias Momarath says, in the spirit of our discussion here about late 90s, early 2000s Sega ads, what are the strangest / most memorable gaming ads you remember? I assume there are many from your time at EGM. And I imagine the first one to pop into anyone's head would be the Virtua Tennis butt ad.
That Virtua Tennis ad.
With the towel where you saw side cheek. A lot of side cheek.
Yeah, so it was a bunch of middle-aged men in a locker room.
That's right.
Mostly naked. It was an ad for Virtua Tennis. And I remember the ad because it was just so jarring when you saw it. That's one of the main reasons. But the other reason was we got a ton of hate mail over that ad. We got a lot of complaints at EGM. And actually, I believe the following month the ad was rerun, but they had added towels.
They added a towel. Yeah.
I thought it was a brilliant ad the first time because it did exactly what you wanted it to do, which was it made you stop turning the page. Yeah. Even if you were looking on in horror, it's like, what is this? Oh, Tennis 2K. All right, cool. But yeah, people were not happy about that ad.
No, they were not. In the 90s, there was a Game Shark ad. I don't know if it ever actually ran. I don't think it ran in EGM. It might have been in GamePro. That showed like a family photo, and one of the kids had shark teeth, and the daughter had like a bite out of her arm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We didn't. I don't think we ran it, but somebody else did, and that was pretty memorable.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that really stood out.
How about the terrible Earthbound ad? That was just
The
smelly.
scratch
Though.
and sniff.
Yeah.
The ad campaign for that game was totally wrong. Like
that's an understatement.
a big understatement, but
yeah, they mishandled that game completely.
Like leaned on gross out humor and like scratch and sniff stickers for like it's seemingly like a little kids type thing. Totally went against what Earthbound is as a game. So, I mean, some of the humor is juvenile in Earthbound, yeah, but you don't like go all the way into scratch and sniff stickers.
Nintendo Power had a lot of weird stuff, like even like the meatloaf thing, like trying to get you to renew with like your grandmother's meatloaf, and like the subscription card was meatloaf.
What? I don't remember that.
Yeah, Nintendo Power had a lot of weird stuff when they were playing it loud. They're also playing it loud with the ads.
Oh.
In the chat there, Hacker Alias Indie aka Rex brings up that crazy Ultimate Gaming Rig sweepstakes ad that always ran in every magazine for like throughout the 90s.
The easiest crossword puzzle that you thought, oh my god, no, I'm gonna actually win this.
Did anyone ever win that thing?
Didn't we did some kind of investigation at EGM? Didn't Crispin do the thing?
Oh, did he? I don't remember.
Do all of the puzzles, and there's some like it was basically impossible to win. But yeah, I certainly remember those ads.
I remember, and I'm trying to look it up here. Dragon Warrior 7 for the PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
There was a 2-page ad spread that ran for a long time for that, and I remember somebody writing in because the ad was framed with a bunch of screenshots. But if you read all the text in the dialogue boxes in the screenshots, I think they told a story.
Huh.
And I remember we had a reader write in and point out that they had seen this, that they had discovered this. And it was like this big thing.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a good example of it. I mean, I know I have an issue in my room that actually has this ad. I can find a picture of the ad, but it's tiny. But yeah, I don't know why that just is sort of standing out to me.
Speaking of great ads, did you guys see that trailer for Dragon Quest 11 of like all those people in Japan and their memories of that? God, that was awesome.
That's a fantastic ad right there. Now they they must have recreated like the launch for Dragon Quest 7.
Yeah,
those lines when it was rainy. There's just a lot of really nostalgic times. Even though that's not my nostalgia, I still I feel that way about games that came out in the US.
Well, again, like I think I talked to you guys about some of my trips out to Japan when I'm working with like Japanese serious businessmen, and when I bring up like Dracquay or Dragon Quest with them, like they all have these stories. Like every kid was lining up for that game. Every kid was talking about that game in school, and they all had like their favorite Dragon Quest game based on like kind of when they were like 12 or 13, which was like for most of them, I think it was actually like Dragon Quest 3. I mean, also Dragon Quest 8 available on 3DS right now. It's fantastic. I'm still playing it. It's awesome.
It really is.
Do you remember another one that just popped to mind? Talking about terrible ads, the Shenmue ads, where they were making fun of the fact that nobody knew what the hell Shenmue was, and I think they were comparing it to the word Shamu. It was just dumb. I just remember it being so dumb.
Yep.
Seaman have any weird stuff? Speaking of stuff we didn't talk about.
Yeah, Seaman. So Seaman was the picture of the dude laying in bed with his bare feet and then a fishtail.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Do you guys have any thoughts on the news?
Ute Saito tweeted out a picture. They're doing something with Seaman. I assume that it's a mobile game, especially since I tweeted that it's got to be a mobile game, right? And Ute Saito liked my tweet, so I'm assuming I'm correct. It's a mobile game.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
How much are those eggs going to cost? What do you think is going to be like $1 per Seaman egg?
No, I don't think it'll be a free to play game. I think it'll be a paid.
I think you'll pay for food.
I don't know. Japan is pretty heavy on that free to play stuff.
Oh, maybe.
That's like all they do.
Okay.
Except for, what is it? Oh, actually, I also got that Space Invaders versus
Arkanoid?
Arkanoid. Yeah. That's also cool.
Yes. All right. Should we do some more tweets?
Yeah.
Sure.
We're kind of stalled out. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Rich Grisham, who says, I love the Xbox Game Pass. This is what we all want, right? Hundreds of games for a small subscription. Who's with me?
I think it's great. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think
sorry.
for certain people, it is great. Not for me, who has a huge backlog and can't even play the games that I get for free every month. So, yeah.
For those of us
It's
rolling
such a
in
neat
dough and can buy all these brand new releases, and we can spend
secret
$40
millionaires.
on a Street Fighter 2 re-release. Just kidding.
I like Street Fighter.
Dude, I got like 8 different versions of Street Fighter within arm's length.
I'm sure that you do. Sure you do. All right. Hacker Alias Bear 1297 says, will future consoles like PS4 and Xbox, I assume he means like PS5 and Xbox, be Switch-like?
No.
Do we see them getting into the Switch-like market? I don't think they can, right? Because, I mean, they already have home consoles. They would really have to be making a second portable machine that then would play at home. And I don't see them doing that.
I still see Sony bringing out one more portable console. I still see them doing something a la like a Vita and doing something that is close to original PS4 capabilities in the next year, because they still have a lot of franchises that work well on a portable console. And they got the independent and third-party relationships to fill that thing up with some games. But I don't know. Well, the only thing that I could actually think of is that, look at what Nintendo did with the Wii, and then everyone kind of like had to sprint to do some sort of motion gaming stuff to try to hit that market. And again, for right now, Nintendo is kind of killing it. Like, you still can't find a Switch in a store. Like, what do they talk about? Upping their, shipment to 18 million units this year, which is insane.
Well, they didn't say that, but some analysts said
they
figured that's going to happen. Yeah. I just don't. I can't imagine Sony or Microsoft doing it, because they have to focus their software efforts on the platforms that they have.
Exactly.
Especially Microsoft. Like, there's just no way, right? I mean, unless they completely rethought their strategy and perhaps found some way to run Xbox games on a mobile processor like the Tegra that's in the Switch, then maybe you could do it, but I don't see it.
Yeah, focus on what you guys are going with right now. Get that Xbox One full of new games.
Exactly. All right, let's wrap up with this one. Is there sorry, I gotta read the name first. All right, Alias Benjamin Rivers says, is there an IP, a show, movie, book, cartoon, etc., for which you've always wanted a tie-in game?
Yeah, Stargate SG-1, which there was going to be a Stargate. What?
Wasn't there a Stargate game?
No, there was a Stargate SG-1 game that was being worked on for the original Xbox, but then it ended up getting canned. Like, this is something that I followed super closely, but they ended up shutting down the actual developer. But, some of the stuff actually leaked out. There was someone on NeoGAF that actually had a bunch of gameplay and screenshot leaks, but someone that was a gigantic fan of that show, like the potential, I mean, look at the potential for that franchise in a video game form, because you could literally just go through a Stargate, go to a completely different world, and get completely different landscapes and stuff. Like, you could have a lot of diversity with that mechanic in there, and I still really miss like a really good time travel game. We haven't had one of those in a while. I would really love to get like another, like over here I got Time Splitters Future Perfect. I would love to see another Time Splitters game, because those games and those franchises, those mechanics allow for such diversity in gameplay and environment.
I'd like a good Jurassic Park game.
Oh man, a good Jurassic Park game would be great.
Or a good Lost game. I mean, Ubisoft did that Lost game. That's terrible.
No.
What was it called? Like something Dios or something like that? What was the
Something
subtitle
like
for that game?
Yeah, I bought it for like $5 on Target clearance, but
Easy Chivos, though.
Yeah, Dalmus.
Yes.
Was. But if they made a good Lost game, then I'd be all about that.
The one that it was, the license it was for me for years and years was Robotech.
Oh yeah,
but that finally happened. So I'd love to
what
see
about
it happen.
Voltron.
Yeah. Voltron would be cool. Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
All right.
I'd love to see Phantasy Star make a comeback.
Okay, that doesn't really count.
What about Phantasy Star Online? Anything?
No, I mean a real Phantasy Star game.
Oh, a real Phantasy. Okay. Well.
Greg, have you tried playing PSO2?
PSO2?
Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
Like Phantasy Star Online.
Go.
No, I mean,
you mean on the PSP Vita?
Yeah, there's one on the Vita and also on the PC. Like you can play it right now.
No.
Okay.
But it's not officially.
I was never a Phantasy Star Online fan, really.
Blasphemy. Game's so good.
Oh God. I own a treadmill. I'm good.
Wow.
Don't use it.
You don't use the treadmill you have. Why would you want another one?
Why would I want another one? Exactly.
Okay. Is that it? Is that our show?
I feel like that's a show.
Yeah, I think that's good. Let's cut it off. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to at P1 Podcast on the Twitter, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
Yes, you will.
You'll find Generation 16 episodes.
Yes, he's still working on episode 19, but it's actually making progress now, so it's exciting.
Yeah, and hey, if you want to join the Discord chat, there's a link to that on our Twitter profile. You can just join up with that and chat about games and other stuff with us, because that's fun. And we also have a message board. If you're more into the traditional way, you can do that. You can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners. And don't forget, we're going to Scoopfest 17 this fall. I think we're going to have Paul Mattingly on next week, maybe.
Ooh.
If everything works out, we're going to talk Scoopfest, and that should be fun. Yeah, you can watch us do this show live with us with an audience, and that'll be pretty fun. We're going to do some crazy stuff, I think. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. You want to do Phil's part?
Sure. If you would like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by going to player1podcast.com or to the iTunes Music Store. While
you know what? No, it's not the iTunes Music Store anymore. It's Apple Podcasts.
Or Apple Podcasts.
They rebranded. So now Phil's going to have to get his speech.
Download the Player One Podcast iPhone app from Apple Podcast?
No.
From the iTunes Music Store. So you can go to Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
From the App Store. Okay, so you can go to Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
Or you can go to the App Store and download the Player One Podcast iPhone app for 199 cents.
Microtransaction free.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can stream all of our episodes to your iPhone with that app, as well as contact us a various number of ways, all of which I will not go into here. And you can download the same app for your Android device
on the Amazon
App Store. Thank you very much.
Android.
I always forget that one. Or $1.99 as well.
God, someone just walked by Greg's window and scared the crap out of me. Sorry.
You're seeing it live.
Oh my God. It's like, sorry, it's very dark out. That's also microtransaction free. No gotcha mechanics on those apps.
There you go. You can also check us out on Stitcher. You can check us out on Facebook. You can check us out on YouTube every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, right on this channel, youtube.com/P1 podcast. And if you would like to support the show, and why wouldn't you want to support the show? We're free. You can go to patreon.com/P1 podcast and support us there. It helps keep Kevin in...
Kevin? Wait, our
original
Patreon
Xbox
helps Kevin?
Yeah.
Oh,
Helps
okay.
him
No,
buy
it
these
doesn't. But I'll tell
platinum
you what
hits
Patreon.
titles.
I'll tell you what Patreon does help Kevin. Kevin's Patreon helps.
That's
Kevin
right.
with his great shows, Back in My Play, and of course the Fitcast.
Yes.
Kevin, where can people find you on the internet?
Hey, you guys, I got a show called Back in My Play. It's actually coming up on its 4th anniversary next week, if you can believe it. 4 years old, guys.
Damn.
Yeah, 4 years ago, we were talking about The Legend of Zelda 1 on Skype, and that was kind of insane. But yeah, we got a brand new episode that just came out on Friday with Ryan Payton, now of Camouflage, and Michael Riley of Phantom Dusted. And we talked about the Xbox re-release Phantom Dust, and that was how we are kicking off the Summer of Xbox, which is going to include some of your favorite guests, some brand new guests, and we're going to be hitting on subjects like how the Xbox was in Japan, how it was covered, and also I'm going to be talking with some people that actually covered the original Xbox launch and throughout its lifetime, potentially even those that did a cover story for EGM back in the day, and also 2 other guys that also worked at EGM and covered the Xbox and played such hits as Halo 1. So, yeah, that's all coming up for probably, I think, like the next 6 weeks of Back in My Play will all be Xbox stuff. Like I said, we're going to be doing an episode that is about Xbox in Japan. We're doing one on the hardware, potentially even including some of the original hardware architects of the original Xbox. So that could be very cool. I'm trying to get all these pieces together along with the help of some friends on the show and stuff. So that would be really cool. And also, don't forget, the Xbox had a really great modding scene that allows you to do some really cool stuff with that hardware. And again, I think Greg and Peter Brown are going to be joining me for talking about the Sega influence on the console specifically. Like, they had an 11-game deal for the original Xbox. Microsoft co-funded a lot of those games back in the day to make sure that it kind of actually ended up being the successor to the Dreamcast in a lot of ways, which was kind of cool to discuss. So yeah, again, I think if you go back, you'll be surprised at how really advanced and influential the original Xbox was. So that's what this series is all about. It's about having some fun, remembering our favorite memories of that hardware, and again, breaking out some just like really cool games.
Kevin, did you unplug your mic?
Yep, I think you did. All right. Well, that was a good ad for Back in My Play. I want to thank CJ for hosting again this week. Thank you, CJ.
No problem.
Can you give us one more Arms Guy?
I'm Arms Guy.
There you go. And I'm going to thank Kevin, who can't respond to my thank you right now. He's trying to, but
I apologize.
There we go. We're good.
No, I hit the plug of my thing, but yeah, all that's coming up on backofmyplay.com. So thank you so much. If you do tune in, I really would appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Kevin. And thanks for hanging out with us this week.
Oh, I love hanging out with you guys. And thank you so much for doing this show every single week. So I have something to watch while I'm watching WWE pay-per-views.
Of course, we do it just for you, Kevin.
I appreciate that. It means a lot.
And that's our show. Thanks, everybody.
Next week. Bye.
Have a great week. Bye.